Welcome to Caldwell County Today. I'm Paige Counts, Public Information Officer for Caldwell County. Joining me today is Register of Deeds Wayne Rash and Janette Jenkins, who is our passport manager. I think that's right.
Passport Program Manager.
Passport Program Manager. So we are here today to talk about passports. I want to ask, Wayne, why is the Register of Deeds office doing passports? Let me start with the tough questions.
Yeah, thank you for that question, Paige. And for us, it's we're all about customer service and trying to find new ways that we can help folks and new services we can offer. And what we discovered is there's a great need in our community for passport services. Years ago, the Clerk of Court's office did passports for the community for a number of years, and when they quit doing them, the post office in Hudson did them for a number of years as well. But that's been, we haven't had anybody in the last, when did we figure out, Janet? 7 or 8 years. Yeah, 7 or 8 years in this county that's offered passport services. So everybody in this county is having to go to Catawba County or Burke County or Wilkes County or Watauga to get their passports done. And so we felt like there was a real need there, and we felt like it was a service that we could help with and offer. And it really kind of goes along with other things we do. You know, if usually to get a passport, you need a copy of your birth certificate, sometimes your marriage license. Those are documents that are readily available in our office. So we felt like it meshed well with what we did, and we felt like it was a great way to offer a service for the community.
And I don't know if this is a term or not, so I'm just going to make it up. You are I would call it full service passport provider or agency, because you provide, talk about that.
Sure.
Talk about what you provide.
So a lot of passport acceptance facilities only offer assistance with the initial passport. And that is required by law. Anyone who wants to get a passport has to go to an acceptance facility to do so. But when their passport comes up for renewal, many passport facilities won't help with that or assist with that. They would prefer the people to just do it online or do the forms and send them in themselves. But we try to help with that. So we'll help customers with their initial passport, but also if someone needs a renewal, we'll help them with those. We have the forms. We'll also take their picture for them, do those things that they'll need, and we also will ship that off for them just like we do the initial application. So we'll help folks with it about anything that's passport related in our office. And I just felt like that was good to do to help folks. If we're going to be a facility to do passports, let's do everything with it. And so I do have to give a big thanks to our county commissioners who recognized the need as well and approved a position, which is the position that Janet's in, a full-time position in our office to do passports, because it does take a lot of time and a lot of effort on someone's part. And also the people who do passports in our office can't do anything with vital records. So if we had used somebody else in the office, it would have taken away from the core services that we provide. So, when we first had this idea, we went to the commissioners, laid out the proposal, what we needed, and they were so good about recognizing the need and funding that need. So big thanks to the commissioners for what they did.
How long have you been doing passports?
So we started the process with the federal government back. Gosh, it was probably last April or May. It takes a while to get approved through the federal government. They approved us. They recognized there was a need in this community. And then we went through all of their hoops that we had to. We got our final approvals, I guess, probably about October maybe, and then they had to do training. So Janet is our passport manager, program manager. She had to do a specific training set through them. Some of that was online, some of it was in-person training. We also have a backup passport agent in our office, and she had to go through the training as well. We started our first passport was about mid-November, I think. Mm-hmm. The first few weeks there, we were just trying to see, what happened, how it went. We were trying to keep the numbers low and just kind of feel it out and get used to doing it. But Starting the 1st of December, and especially after the holidays, it's just been wide open with passports, and we've been real pleased with the response of the community.
So now we're going to talk to Janet about
Sure.
the actual details of getting a passport. And I know because I've overheard this, you want folks to make an appointment. Let's start there.
Yes.
How do people make appointments?
They can give me a call at the regular Register of Deeds line at 757-1310, or my direct line is 757-8692.
And when a person meets with you, about how long does it take?
It depends on if they're prepared. When a person calls in to make an appointment, I try to go over everything with them, and as far as which forms they need, and I try to tell them what they need, like they will need a personal check or a money order for a passport. There's 2 different options. There's the passport book and the passport card, and depending on which one you're wanting will depend on how much it is. And so I try to get the people prepared, with the application, and tell them that they need a check. And then our fees can be paid for with card, cash, or check.
Okay, let's talk about getting prepared.
Okay.
And, well, maybe first we need to talk about the difference between a passport book and a passport card.
Okay, so a passport book is normally what most people get. A passport book is good for everything. It's good for land, sea, and air. And a passport card is only good for land and sea.
So, for example, if you're going to cruise, drive into Canada, drive into Mexico,
Then you could just get a card.
but the book covers all means of transportation into a foreign country.
Right.
Okay. So now let's talk about preparation for the Is preparation the same for the book and the card?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, they have to fill out the same application, and they indicate at the top of it what they're wanting, whether they're wanting a book, card, or both.
Janet, how do you prepare for your passport appointment?
Well, when a person calls to make an appointment, I will offer to send them an email that has the application in it and that has valuable information in it, like how much they are and how much our fees are and exactly what they'll need.
Okay, what do people need?
So when they come in, they'll need to have the filled out application, and they'll need to have a personal check or money order, and the amount for a passport book is $130, and for a passport card is $30, and that's the adult process. Of course, it's different for minors.
And what are some of the documents that people will need?
They will have to prove U.S. citizenship, and so they'll need a certified copy of their birth certificate and their driver's license or an ID.
Okay, anything else they'll need?
If they've had a passport before and their name has now changed from getting married or getting divorced, then we'll also need their marriage, a certified copy of their marriage certificate, or even their divorce decree.
Wayne, which of those documents can be obtained in your office?
Sure, and that's why I talked about earlier. It fits well with what we do. For most folks, we can get their certified copy of their birth certificate. If they were born in Caldwell, obviously we have those records in house. If they were born in another county, the state has a statewide issuance system that we can get anybody's birth certificate as long as they were born after 1971. Doesn't matter what county in the state they were born in. If it's before that, then they'll have to contact the county of birth if they were born before 1971. But for the vast majority of people, we can get that. Marriage certificates, if they need a certified copy, if they were married, if they obtain their marriage license in Caldwell, we've got that. Or we can help put them in contact with the county that they need that from. So most of the documents that they do need, we have in their office, assuming that they obtain those documents in Caldwell. And for a lot of people, that is the case. And so it makes it real easy.
And I know I get intimidated when you put a federal form in front of me. Do you have any tips for filling out the form? I mean, is it straightforward? Is it something that I'm just going to look at and be freaked out of because it says U.S. Department of State?
Well, it's not very intimidating. There's 2 pages to it, and the first page is just everyday information that you know, like your name and your address, and any other names that you've ever gone by before, like your maiden name. And then the second page, sometimes people, may need to think about that a little more, because on there it asks for your parents' information. Even if you're an adult, you still have to put your parents' information on there and whether they're U.S. citizens or not. And you'll have to know your parents' dates of birth and where your parents were born. And it also asks about your marital status on there, if you've ever been married or divorced or widowed on there. And so it asks about specifics about, if you were widowed or divorced, what are those dates on there as well. And then an emergency contact is on that second page as well. And that would have to be somebody that is not traveling with you in case something were to happen in another country. The United States would need an additional emergency contact of someone that's not going to be with you.
Once paperwork's completed, fees have been paid, approximately how long does it take to get a passport?
This information was just updated today, actually, and the U.S. Department of State says that it takes 8 to 11 weeks in order to get your passport back at routine processing. There's also an expedited processing option, and it's 5 to 7 weeks.
Okay, so if people are going to travel, they need to plan ahead. Travel outside the country, need to plan ahead, right?
Yes.
Okay, I'm trying to think what else we need to cover. I feel like there's a lot to this, and I feel like I'm missing something.
Probably more of the fees.
Okay.
I went over the adult fees. Again, for an adult passport book, it's $130, and for a passport card, it's $30. But now for minors, and for the situation of, we normally consider minors people under 18, but for passports, they actually say children that are 15 and younger is considered a minor. So for anybody 16 and older, you pay the adult fees. For anybody 15 and younger, for the passport book, it's $100. And then for the passport card, it's $15. And then for the execution of the application and for the passport photo, that's $50.
So full service, how long is a passport good for? An adult passport?
An adult passport is good for 10 years.
And a minor passport
is good for 5 years.
Okay, so a little bit different on the timelines there, so that's something to keep in mind.
Yes. The fees for the passports themselves, for the passport book is $130 for an adult and $100 for a minor. And the passport card is $30 for an adult and $15 for a minor. And that has to be paid with a check or a money order. And then our fees for the execution of the application and for the photo, that is $50. And those fees are set by the U.S. Department of State. And so it'll be the same fees no matter which facility that you choose to go to.
And the reason you take different forms of payment for the 2 different fees is because one goes to the State Department and one is kept for your processing fee and your expenses. Am I correct?
Yes.
Right. Yeah, the U.S. Department of State will only take checks or money orders. For any other service in our office, we take credit cards, anything else. So that's why our local processing fee will take, a card, cash, check, whatever. But for the fee that goes to the State Department, they're pretty strict about what that has to be. But yeah, Janet made a great point there about the fact, we don't control any of those fees. They're all set by the State Department. Even though a portion of that is retained by us, they tell us what that fee will be. And so we have no local control. So before people think, well, gosh, your fees are high or low or whatever they might think about them, just know that those fees are prescribed. They're the same at any passport facility, and they're set by the U.S. government.
We haven't mentioned this, renewal fees. What are those?
For the renewal fee, as far as a passport book or card, it's the same.
Okay.
Again, it's $130 for adults for the passport book and $100 for minors. And for the passport card, it's $30 or $15 for minors. Now, for renewals, we do not charge an execution of the application fee. The only thing you would be charged for is your photo, if you choose to get your photo with us.
Okay, so that makes sense.
Oh, and we can also mail it for them too with tracking, and that's $7.60 at this time.
Because you are sending this information to the U.S. State Department, talk about your role in the process. I mean, at some point, it's in State Department hands, right?
Exactly. My role in the process is to get the application, review the birth certificate to make sure that they are a U.S. citizen, to review and document the driver's license or ID. We have to send the certified copy of the birth certificate to the U.S. Department of State, and a copy of that as well. I have to send a copy of their driver's license, and I have to make sure that they agree that the application is true and correct to the best of your knowledge, and that the photo attached is a true likeness of them, and they have to sign it. And all of that is done in front of me. And then I mail it at that point to the U.S. Department of State. And, they ultimately decide if the person, is a U.S. citizen, if they're going to be getting their passport or not.
And once it leaves your hands, you have no way of following up on that passport application. Is that correct?
Exactly. There is a number for the National Passport Information Center that I'll always give everyone that comes in right before they leave. I give them a paper with the National Passport Information Center's phone number, and they can call and get a status update on their passport, or they can look online. The number to the National Passport Information Center is 1-877-487-2778, or the website is travel.state.gov. That's the official website for the U.S. Department of State.
So basically, you're step one, and then the State Department is step two, and once it goes to step two...
Our role is making sure that everything's complete on that application, that all the proofs are there, the picture is there, it's all packaged together. We send it, we track it to make sure it gets there. But once it gets there, it's totally up to the State Department. And so we have no control over whether they ultimately grant that passport or not. And they won't let us check on the status of it either. And so that's important for people to know is, like Janet said, they have to call the number, go to the website to check all that, because we have no control at that point. It is totally out of our hands.
And again, for people who are thinking about travel out of country, the time is 8
to 11 weeks for a routine delivery, and 5 to 7 weeks for expedited delivery.
So you want to add that into your travel planning time. Talk to me, because as you're sitting here and you said a valid driver's license, I just think to myself, am I going to be that person who comes in and it's, one day past my birthday and I hadn't renewed my driver's license? So what are the keys to a successful application?
It is helpful, to make sure that the driver's license is still in date. If it's not, then there's other things that we can accept as well. We can accept an ID card. If we do accept an ID card, I have to physically see other things as well, maybe like the social security number and credit cards. Of course, we're not allowed to make copies of credit cards, but they do prefer that if you do not have a driver's license, that I at least see other things with your name on them.
And are there other keys to being a success when you come in, the process to go smoothly? I guess the main parts to that would be making sure the application is filled out. And one thing about the application is the U.S. Department of State does not allow any errors on the application. So it cannot have any whiteout on it and nothing can be marked through. So if you make a mistake, come to me or call me and I'll be glad to send you another application. Normally when people come in to get an application, I give them a few of them just in case mistakes are made because again, they won't let us have any mistakes on them. So I guess the main points would be to have the application filled out when you come in and to make sure you have a personal check or money order for the passport fees themselves. And as you've gone through this since November, early December, how many I don't know if you can say how many passports, but how many people have you served approximately?
We've already served over 100 people, helped them getting their passports just since November, mid-November, early December.
Wayne, talk about that as a success rate.
Right.
When you started this process way back last year, what were you thinking?
Well,
numbers wise,
right. Ultimately, we hoped the program would be self-sustaining, that we would make enough in revenues to fund the position that was created, and really, we felt like if we did that, it would be a success. But we realized it would probably take some time to get there because, as word spread, it would grow slowly. And from most other facilities that we had talked to as they initially started, it was a slow growth. Really was blown away by especially, December started to get a little busy, but especially after Christmas, it has just been nonstop. And every time I walk through the office, I hear, Janet, you have a phone call, somebody wanting to know about passports. It's all the time right now. And so really pleased, beyond expectations of how quickly we've gotten to that number of 100. So, just didn't know what to expect, but expected it to be a slower growth than it has been. I've been very, very pleased with the response, but it just shows there is a great need in our community for this service. So I think as more and more folks find out about it, this is the first time that we've done anything to alert the public that we're offering passport services, and we've already done 100. So if that tells you anything, it's a needed service, and just by word of mouth, folks have started hearing and have wanted to come to us and not drive across the bridge, whichever direction they would have to go, but to go get a passport. So I feel really good about it. Feel really great. Janet does a wonderful job with folks and helping them. Again, our office is all about helping people, and so if we can do that and break even and heck, maybe even make some money for the county, that it's a win-win for the citizens, for county government, for everybody to provide a service. And like I said, been phenomenally pleased with how it's been so far.
Because you have had such great success, you're asking folks to make appointments, right?
Yes. While we do accept walk-ins, but it's preferred to make an appointment. That way the people won't have to wait when they come in, especially, with us starting to get more busy. we encourage people to make an appointment.
We've seen it in the office. So the last couple of walk-ins we've had, they've had to sit and wait a good amount of time, and we hate that. I mean, for their sake, everybody's time is valuable. People have stuff to do. So for their sake, call and make an appointment. That way you're guaranteed you're not going to have to wait. Maybe, you might have to 5 minutes or something, but you're not going to have to sit there for an hour or more to sit and wait on Janet to become free to get your passport. So call us, make an appointment. Janet can, and also that way they can find out all this stuff they need to bring, because Janet's so good about telling them ahead of time, here are all the things that we need from you before you come. And that saves them time ultimately, rather than having, because we've had a few like that who've had to go back home and get this or that, or go get a check, or whatever it might be. So she can save you a ton of time if you just call ahead of time, set an appointment. She'll tell you all the things you need, and it'll save everybody's time in the long run.
How far do people need to make appointments in advance?
I would say right now, at least a week or so in advance. We're pretty much booked up like for the next week. So as of course, if we start getting more busy, of course that'll change. But right now, it's just about a week or two out.
So again, the message is plan ahead.
Right.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Okay, anything we have forgotten to talk about? I think it's such a great service, and I'm really glad it's back here in Caldwell County.
Absolutely.
Well, the people that I've served so far, they have all been really pleased that they can come to one place and fill out their application, get their photo done, just get it all done right here in one place instead of having to go get their photo somewhere else and then come here. So everybody's been really pleased with our process, the way we do it.
Great. Well, thank you both for being here. Thank you for sharing, and I hope in maybe 6 months we can come and talk about all the success you've had, and maybe do a reminder about passports.
Sure, absolutely. We'd love to do that again. Just give us a call. We can help. No need to drive across the bridge to Catawba, or across, I guess it is a bridge to Burke too, but
Depending on which way you go.
which way you go for a lot of people. But we're here to help folks. We're happy to do it. The other thing we've been told, and Janet won't say that, but folks have told us how much friendlier our service is on passports than a lot of the other facilities. I'm not saying that to be negative about anybody else, but just to say that Janet's done a wonderful job, and I think anybody would find it's not the normal service you would get when you go into a federal facility. So we're here to help people, and we want to do everything we can to help people in that process, not make it harder for them. So congratulations to Janet for doing that and for getting those kind compliments from her customers. But she's happy to help. We're happy to help. Just give us a call.
Well, thank you both. Thank you for the service you're providing. And thank you for watching Caldwell County Today.